They were good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Can you Young Reagan, how did you prepare for that?
You know, there's not a lot on Young Reagan. There's some stuff in segues. Go back and try to find a lot of Young Reagan. There's not a lot out there. So I went back as far as I could, and I was shocked to see that his voice was totally different than President Reagan. Couldn't be more different. I was like, is this the same guy? In different parts of the U.S., his accent just evolved over the years. So I listened to everything that I could of Young Reagan. His voice got so wisdom. You know, he's got such a ease in doing it that just watching him is such a nice guy.
Congratulations on the reboot of Wizards. You know, what was it like getting to reunite with Selena Gomez?
It was a blast. Like, right before we shot our first scene, we just looked at each other's eyes. Right back in the house. We were right back in the house. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Enjoy. Tell me, you know, what was it like getting to be a part of this show? What do you want the audience to take away?
I think it's fun. I never seen that, but I think it's
Larry David, Scott Atkins.
How are you, man? And Dennis. Good to see you.
That sold you? Right here, you guys, right
I'm going to give you that for both. You do. John, you're on the red carpet for Reagan. What do you want the audience to take away from this?
Well, I think this film started out with very cold. And then we hit the strike and there was a whole bunch of interference to get this thing made. And it finally was pushed to this date. But you know, we've got a big election coming up, and to see this wonderful presidency, remind ourselves the pressure that's on the president, the way they make decisions, the importance of the president to our well-being. All of this is part of this movement. By the way, it's a wonderful election. We've got two people on the carpet now.
How do you see your boss?
Penelope Miller and Dennis. Just wonderful. Anyway, I think it's a gift for us now.
You know, and Dennis transforming into Reagan. What are your thoughts?
Well, my daughter.
Want me to restart that? All right, take two. You looked after. Congratulations tonight.
Got you in there. This is the red carpet, and that's Dennis.
Daughter is here.
Holy smokes.
And
John, what a nice peek we had.
John, what's the...
John, how are you? Leslie, so nice to meet you. I see you've got your presidential tie on.
Yes,
Ready?
nice.
Tell me, what is it? What is one
You know the words.
Yes.
The words of the Pledge of Allegiance, you know? I pledge allegiance.
I try to stop that too, but I'm telling everyone.
The words are so beautiful. The words of the Star Spangled Banner are so beautiful and meaningful. there's a whole history behind this, and a whole history within it. There's a lot of information in these words. So the kids should be saying these words at school and stuff. You know what I mean? It's important. And we've been kind of attacked about that. Actually, seriously attacked, because I play a Russian spy, Soviet spy, in this film. And in my research, I've done a lot of research. We find that the attack on our country, through the attack on the family, the attack on the universities, the overtaking of the universities, all of this stuff happened many years ago, and we're seeing the results of it now. So I learned an awful lot doing this role in terms of the origins of some of the poisons we're facing now. So I've become very smart. So everybody, ask me a question, I've got an answer, you know what I mean?
You're
But
right.
anyway.
That's why you're here on the carpet. I wanted to actually follow that up with how did, being in this film and taking on this role invigorate you politically, given the election we're stepping into?
Well, we didn't really intend to have it near the election, but it turned out that way, and I think it's good because it makes it more relevant. Many things that you're going to see in the film tonight, if you're going to see it. You want to see it?
I'm not tonight.
Have you seen it?
No, not yet, no.
I hope you see it because there's a lot in it. There's a great love story. That's really very beautiful and very moving. And there's also a lot of information. You'll follow it and you say, oh my gosh, that happened 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? That's this, that's that. And that's the way he solved this. I agree with that, whatever it is. But you're going to go through it and then you say, that's like now. This is like now, the same kind of situation. And that's how he handled it. It's like that. It makes this present time.
My teenage years on camera.
And given all the knowledge now that you know about Reagan, I know you've been very supportive of former President Donald Trump. Do you think they would get along, the two?
Oh yeah, they would for sure. Well, they saw things very much the same way. They both understood what our founding fathers designed when they warned us against too much government. I'm
so proud of her.
It's in our Constitution. Limited government. And they both Trump and, they want to open
I
up
tell my
business.
kids, find something you love to do,
that's
and
how
then figure
Donald
out
Trump
a way to get paid.
was able to
So
build
I
the
don't
economy
push
to
them,
the greatest we've ever had.
see the way they are.
It's because of that, and it was very much it was very similar to what Reagan did during his time. So anyway, they were very close.
A meteor.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate your time.
Hey, Leslie. How are you?
Thank you. Liz, I wanted to ask you because stereotypically, Hollywood tends to have the stereotype of being very liberal, and I'm curious what your opinion is in terms of that impact in what films get made, what themes are covered, and how they're promoted.
Well, it's a free country. It's, we have a freedom of expression here as far as filmmaking goes, and it's market-driven. And certainly there is room in this country for a film like Reagan. That's for sure. I think we forget here in Los Angeles sometimes that half the country, maybe even a little bit more than half the country, is conservative. Or a third of them at least, and really the biggest portion of the country I think is independent. Like me.
Do you hope that, just given the success of Reagan, we saw the success of Sound of Freedom as well, that things will kind of shift in Hollywood, given that it's showing that there is marketability and money there?
Well, I think that Hollywood is waking up to a new audience. I feel like Hollywood in the last few years, of course we've had COVID, we've had all that, but I think they've been searching for their audience that they lost somewhere along the road back there, somewhat similar to back in like 69, 70, when you had French New Wave and Bonnie and Clyde came along, and Easy Rider, films like that, and we had this resurgence. And it's always good to mix it up. It gets people interested again. It gets people debating things. It gets new talk rather than just sitting on laurels. And so there's definitely room for that. And there's there's a whole untapped market out there, people that want to see movies like Reagan or like faith films or the films that are coming out, and Hollywood doesn't know how to track them yet. So, but they'll learn.
Thank you for sharing that. And I wanted to ask you as well, you completely transformed into Reagan. I saw a photo from AP actually of Reagan speaking and then you side by side, and I was like, oh, I can't tell the difference. What was it like for you looking in the mirror for the first time after that transformation?
Well, I was seeing it from the inside, and so I kind of saw it in a different way. And I knew I was never going to look exactly like Reagan, at least to me, and I wasn't going to sound exactly like Reagan used to be. But I had a year to work on it, and I also had to do it from his 35-year-old voice to his 80-something-year-old voice as well. So I will say this: Reagan is now my favorite movie I've ever made, and before this, it was The Right Stuff, which had a 40-year reign.
Oh my gosh!
But it's been toppled by Reagan.
I got to tell you, The Parent Trap is still.
I love Parent Trap for completely different reasons, that's for sure. But this was such a challenge to do, and I'm really proud of it. Parent Trap will live forever.
Congrats, Dennis. I have one last question.
Yeah.
What do you think, Reagan, given that you've been almost inside his mind at this point, what do you think that he would think about the current election cycle going on right now?
Well, I think he would think that the circumstances surrounding the election and the issues were very similar to what they are today. The way we have inflation, oil, we have hostages over there, we had Iran hostages at the time, and interest rates 20% back then. I know I bought a house. I think they're very similar. We're going through a change here, and we'll see how it comes out, but I really hope it ends with all of us remembering that we're Americans and learning how to talk to each other again.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
You bet.
And real quick with Omar,
Entourage turned 20.
I know, it's crazy, right? It flew by. It's crazy.
What do you remember most from that time?
You guys are the bomb.
It was before.
Possibly. It's all a whirlwind at this point,
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, after, taking part in this film, what is one trait of President Reagan's that you'd like to see in a future presidential candidate?
The trait? One of his traits? Well, he was tough, and he was strong, and he didn't take any crap. That's one thing. When he first came to office, there was problems in Iran, and they released the hostages right away once he came into office. And I think there's something to be said for a strong president, especially during these tough times. So he was great. He's one of my all-time favorites. So once they offered me the job, I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to get a Reagan movie. Dennis Quaid, are you kidding? Yes.
And I know everyone has been saying that Dennis looked just like Reagan. There's similarities now out of costume, but in costume it is a spitting image. What was it like when you first stepped on set and saw Dennis fully transformed?
We first ran the lines in the trailer, and I was blown away because his sounds and his mannerisms, and he looks like him. And I didn't know how well he was going to channel Reagan. He was perfect right away. And all my scenes were with him. We had a great time together. I've known him for years, but now I got to work with him. It was a real pleasure.
And I know that this film met some controversy in terms of promotion. What would you say it says about Hollywood that things tend to lean a little bit more liberal versus things that are a little more apolitical or neutral or conservative?
Yeah, it definitely does. Hollywood leans one way, but there's a little bit of both. It's not all one way, and this proves it. So there's two sides to Hollywood, which is good.
I was going to say, do you see a shift given that we're seeing, different types of films being more promoted now?
I don't know about that. I mean, this happened, and that's great, but I don't know if there's a big shift. I think Hollywood's always going to lean mostly in a different direction. But yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm losing. Natalie Byrne. So happy to be here. Come on. Thanks, Jill.